Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 68 of the Division Z podcast. My name is Jason.
And I am King Cosmic.
What an interesting week it has been for the zombies community, my friend.
Interesting is a good word, or uninteresting, should we say?
You know what? I know we just started talking about the podcast, but I already know what the title is going to be of this episode. Vanguard Zombies Conspiracy.
Yeah.
I just used the wrong word. Conspiracy.
Yes.
Maybe it is a conspiracy and we got some crazy stuff going on behind the scenes, but the Vanguard Zombies controversy is, I guess, the episode of this podcast, or the title of this episode. Man, what an interesting week. I mean, I think for the most part, a lot of people in the community don't like this game.
And here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. It's not because of the engine.
Right.
It's not because, for the most part, not the perk system. Sure, it's a little bit annoying, but it's not really that. Mm-hmm. I think we all kind of went in thinking, that's kind of annoying that we have to, upgrade off our stuff now and all that. It has nothing to do with the actual base game whatsoever. It is the fact that the content there is virtually 3 objectives and like 5 little multiplayer maps that you go and do them objectives on.
Yeah, and Shinonuma. Don't forget about Shinonuma.
And Shinonuma. Shinonuma is pretty cool, but
I mean,
I think it's just here's the thing. Everyone's on the same boat, and it's not like everyone's just completely hating on the game and be like, "Oh, this game is trash. This game is awful," because it's not awful,
right?
To the extent of like the engine's good, it feels good, the zombies feel great to kill, but there's so many other little issues that surround it that just completely kill the game for people.
And see, that's the thing. There are a lot of little things that a lot of people hate about this game. And I mean, the thing is, the core fundamental of the game on paper makes total sense, right? You have a staging area with your pack-a-punch and your covenants and all that stuff at the one spot, and you go from map to map and you do stuff. That's all fine and dandy. I don't mind that. I really don't. And then you kind of go up in the rounds like you do an outbreak, where every objective you complete, you're eligible to go up to the next difficulty level, per se, right? But, the thing is, there are so many things in the game, too, that are busted. And, there's not a whole lot of content with this launch. Like, no Easter egg. No Easter egg, I think, is a huge blow to zombies because
when you think about it, that cuts out, boss fight, ending cutscene, all these other things that we complain about Cold War.
Right.
Remember when everyone got upset over not getting a cutscene?
Right.
Over boss fight. It's like, we don't have any of them in this game.
We have none of that. And, before people mention in the comments, because I know someone is going to, well, Outbreak didn't launch with an Easter egg. Outbreak objectively had more when Outbreak came out than Duran Fong. It had more objectives, more world events, bigger areas to explore. That's open world zombies that they gave us. Okay. And since they're kind of going with the Outbreak formula here, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different, where it's Outbreak round based in a strange way.
And here's the thing as well, is what I think we have to remember is Outbreak could have launched like Duran Fong, right? It could just like that. But it's fine because it's a side game mode. We had our base game already there. It wasn't really taking up. Sure, it took up DLC 2 slot, but it updated so much over the time it was out. I would say it's worth it. This is just, to me, the equivalent of something like Onslaught. Day one.
I mean, that's understandable. Yeah, totally.
I could see this being a game mode that came as a PlayStation exclusive, and then they're missing a survival map.
Right.
And that is the big takeaway from it. It's like, it's not bad on its own, but you look at it compared to a normal zombie map, it's not great. And it's not one of them things where, we're going to attack the developers, because we know Treyarch probably looked at this and we're like, they're not going to be happy. There's no boss fight. There's no Easter egg. High rounds don't really any way to progress. And even some of the challenges, after a certain point, they're impossible to do. Like, surviving in that lockdown area, when you get progress to the higher rounds, when you progress to like the higher rounds, how do you expect to do that?
I mean, the thing is, you gotta really select your weapons and your covenants to really fit that kind of a thing. And before we talk about some of the other negative stuff about the game, because there's positives and negatives to everything, I think we should shine some light on the positive of this game, right? I like the Covenants. I think the Covenants are fun. You know, you have interesting ones like Cull the Weak, and you have Unholy Ground, and you have these really interesting abilities that were kind of borrowed from Black Ops 4, and you know, different elements of perk skill tiers in Cold War that made it kind of interesting. The other thing is too, with the upgrading your perks in the game, I think it's a fun system. I think it makes sense. You know, I guess a little bit part of the negative is it's a little bit basic, and you know, you're whatever. But anyways, it's fine. You know, either way, upgrading your perks in the game, upgrading your perks outside the game, it doesn't really matter to me. I think both systems are fine. Some of the weapons are nice to use. It feels smooth. The game feels smooth.
I think this has to be one of the best feeling zombie games we've ever gotten.
It feels really good.
Because compared to like something like Black Ops 3, I like the way Black Ops 3 feels. But this game, when you kill a zombie, you have that oomph. You know, you're using a shotgun. You know what I mean? And I think, as well, aesthetically, the game looks really cool as well. I love the way the zombies look, first of all. The perk machines are amazing.
Oh, yeah, the fountains are really cool.
It reminds me of something from Chaos, which, you know, we love getting that type of stuff in. But after a certain point, when you go over all the positives, you just see the negatives there. And it's even things that don't really have too much to do with the game itself. It's like not being able to pause on solo.
I can't believe that. Like,
what?
I can't believe that. I legitimately cannot believe you can't pause on solo. And you get kicked for inactivity if you stand still for 2 minutes. I genuinely cannot believe that. Now we're gonna start with the negative stuff here.
Yeah, and I get before we get right into it and completely bash the game, because I know we're gonna get some comments like, oh, you know, Treyarch have been stressed out, they've been pushed to do this, you know.
100%.
And we understand that, and we're not attacking them. This all comes down to Activision and them wanting to push a zombies game mode in a game that clearly didn't really intend of having one, or wasn't ready for it. So don't look at this. Anything we say, we're not pointing towards Treyarch. We know you are doing your best, and you know it's not really your fault.
100%.
We're just pointing out the actual flaws of the game that there is no opinion based on. Like, you can't look at the fact, you can't pause on solo and find a positive out of it. It's not like Black Ops 4 where the perk system was very like hit or miss. Some people like the perk system,
that's very subjective.
Yeah, this is like, you can't pause on solo. Oh, I like that. I like that you can't pause on solo. Or you can lag in solo play. Yeah, you know, I quite like lagging in solo play and dying because of it. It's not subjective.
I think the big thing y'all got to keep in mind is that the reason why we're going to say negative things about this game, and any zombies game, any Call of Duty game, any freaking video game, to be honest, is because we care. It's because we care about video games, especially zombies. We care about zombies. You can look at our channels, and fucking 99% of everything we post is zombies. So, you know, we care about this, and we want to see this game mode continue to progress and not regress, like it kind of feels like Vanguard Zombies has.
It is a little,
It has a little bit. So, you know, we care about this game. We want to see it get good because this has the potential to get good. With that said, I think it's going to be terrible having them drip feed everything to us this year.
Yeah.
You know, they really stripped down everything that made Cold War Zombies great. And
that's the thing as well.
And then now it's just it's like half Cold War Zombies. Like it feels empty.
It seems like in places they took 2 steps forward, or 1 step forward even,
and then 2 steps back. Yeah.
It's like with the Pack-a-Punch system. Like, I know we can get alternate ammo types from the Covenants, obviously, but why not just make it so we can Pack-a-Punch our normal base weapons? I understand trying to innovate and stuff, and that completely makes sense. But that system, people really didn't complain about it.
What, the alternate ammo types?
Yeah. People don't for the most part. I know there are some people that, that makes every weapon a wonder weapon, and then what's the point of using a wonder weapon? Completely understandable. But it's one of them. It just feels like 1 step forward and even maybe 3 steps backwards for most of the game. And a lot of things are subject. Like, for example, the perk system in this. I don't think the perk system is that bad. I think it makes a lot of sense because as you progress in the game, you get more points. Your character progresses because your abilities, they get better and all that. But compared to Cold Wars, where you just upgrade them, adds a little bit more to the game, I think. That is something where you could argue towards what's better. Some people would say, oh, upgrading your stuff in Cold War, so it's always the best tier, is better because then you feel like you've earned it, which is understandable. But this, I feel like, probably provides a little bit more of a challenge. But the game, it's just, I've never felt so depressed over a zombies game before, and that is the genuine truth. It's not even like Black Ops 4, because with Black Ops 4, I'll be honest, I didn't like the game when it first came out, just like pretty much everyone else. And you know, I was one of the people that like saw the flaws of the games, the blue screens and all that, and I was like, this isn't it. But with this, it's like, I can play it for so long, but how can someone defend this?
There are certain things that you definitely cannot defend, like we were talking about, not pausing in solo server lag, you get kicked for inactivity in zombies, like those things you cannot defend, and that's just, I think, the byproduct of the game wasn't ready. It just wasn't ready. The whole thing to me felt rushed. Like the entire game felt rushed. Like, I don't know. It feels weird doing certain things in the game, right? Where like you go to the crafting table, and the crafting table, you scroll all the way to the support category, and there's just a self-revive. That feels weird. That feels so empty. Like, where the fuck are the grenade launchers? Where are the death machines? Because you have them in multiplayer. Where are they in zombies? Like, what's going on with that? So, I don't know. It's like certain aspects of that feel super rushed. And the fact of the matter is, you have those technical problems with the pausing, makes it even more so like, oh, shit. Wow, that's weird.
Because here's the thing, right? When I lag for the first time for a solid minute, that's when I was thinking to myself, right, I can't take this game seriously. I really can't. I'm not going to bother going for a high round, as you call it, because they're not even really rounds, if we're being completely honest. But, like, it's just unenjoyable. And the thing as well is, without having a normal survival map, grinding for Dark Ether in this game, which I know you do like, Jason, but I think the opinion's pretty popular that Dark Ether looks pretty bad in this.
Man,
I don't think it looks awful. I think it looks all right.
I gotta be honest, man. I'm of the minority here. I like Dark Ether. I like mainly because I like green. Like,
you like green,
that's my favorite color, obviously.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's definitely not as good as Dark Ether. This camo is not nearly as good looking as Dark Ether. That's for sure.
I guess the thing as well is, it doesn't really matter what the camo looks like. Obviously, we want it to look nice, but if it doesn't, I guess it's more what the camo means rather than what it looks like. But my problem isn't actually
the mark
the
of
camo
completion.
itself. Yeah, my problem isn't with the camo itself. It's more with the way to kind of get it, and the fact that getting your weapons to Gold Viper in this game mode is, I've seen it. I'm not going to attempt it. I'll do it in multiplayer because we can talk about it a bit later. But in multiplayer, I've actually been having a really good time with. So that's one positive with Vanguard, and I don't regret buying the game because I'm really enjoying
I like
the multiplayer
too.
But with this, I've seen people stream it, and it takes 10 hours to get a gun gold.
Oh, I know.
And it's just sitting. And again, I know Cold War is pretty much the same thing, right? But with Cold War, you had a base survival map, and you could, You know what
the problem is with that is Black Ops Cold War kind of had this problem too, but I let it slide in Black Ops Cold War because the max level you needed to get your weapon in Black Ops Cold War, for most weapons, not all of them, like the pistols and the knife and all that, like those, it required lower levels. But for other weapons in Black Ops Cold War, the max level you needed to get to in order to start earning every single camo to get Golden Viper was 50. Yeah. And I think that's as high as it should go. Because...
And this isn't at 70.
This is 70. This is 70. There's 20 additional levels to grind through for every freaking weapon, except for a couple. Like the knife, here's what, another thing, the knife, you don't have to level up at all. You just have all the camo categories unlocked.
That's like launchers. I'm pretty sure you don't have to do it for... Are launchers even in the game? Because I haven't got one yet.
Yes, they are. There's 4 of them.
Are they good?
I haven't used one yet.
No, in zombies, have you...
No, I haven't used one yet. Like, I have no idea.
I don't know if they're actually in there. I haven't gotten it yet.
I mean, honestly, I haven't bothered to look because I'm having too much fun with the Einhorn revolver shotgun because that's the best gun in the game right now. But man, like 70 levels, that's excessive. That is absolutely excessive for fucking max level for a weapon in Call of Duty. Like, I get it. Every weapon can have 10 attachments now, and every weapon can be super customizable and really great and whatever, right? But for the camo challenges, 70 is your max level? Like, I think that's a huge mistake. I mean, Cold War, I thought it was already kind of high with 50, and it was like, okay, if they're gonna do a maximum level for this camo grind, 50, okay, that's about as high as it should be. 70, yeah. I don't know, man. Like, my highest level gun is 49. Okay, I have another 21 levels to go in order to start getting frickin' Golden Viper.
And here's the thing, right? You play the game on a regular basis, you know.
It's
not like you're casual. You don't come home from like work, your 9-to-5 job, and like, okay, let's play this for 2 hours and do something else.
Yeah,
you're the one that actually plays the game consistently. And I'm pretty sure leveling up in zombies for weapons is really bad right now, anyway. But
dude, every game, like I'll get to round 10, right? My gun will level up like twice.
I was like, I might as well go in the multiplayer,
and that's what I do.
Yeah, multiplayer is the way to go. And I'll tell you something, right? I'll touch on it now. It's funny because I think for the most part, the zombie community has gotten spoiled over the past little while. Like in terms of Black Ops 3, I guess kind of in terms of Black Ops 4 with the launch content and all that, and Cold War as well. But with the multiplayer this time around, it just seems like there's been a total flip. 20 multiplayer maps, a bunch of fun weapons to use. The game has problems, but not major problems. It's not like actual game-breaking stuff. It's more like, the occasional hacker or two. But what a breath of fresh air. After playing Vanguard Zombies, at least, is the multiplayer.
I do like the multiplayer.
I've not had this much faith in a multiplayer since, like, I don't know, like Black Ops 3. And I know there's the honeymoon phase and people get really attached to the games as well earlier on. Like, oh, this is the best COD ever. But for this one, it makes me feel something I haven't really felt with a multiplayer game before in a while, at least.
Understandable.
And I can firmly say this, like going into it, like, wow, this is fun. This takes Modern Warfare and fixes pretty much all the problems that game had in terms of pacing. It's not slow, it's fast. The alternate game modes where you can have more players in a match compared to less.
That's a very interesting concept. I like it, but at the same time, sometimes it's excessive. Like, some of the maps are like 18v18 domination, and it's like, whoa, that's too much to me.
It's crazy, bro.
It's chaos.
It's
like if you're on a map like Das Haus, and you're doing domination with 18 fucking people, like it's wild. It's absolutely wild.
Shipment. It makes every map like Shipment, and I feel like because you can obviously have the option to do it
and that's the
maps you want.
That's the thing, though. Should every map be like Shipment, though? I personally don't think it should be.
No, but there's the option there.
But you do have the option for it, exactly.
Which is perfect because it makes things a lot more fast paced. And like, if you want things to be fast paced, they can be fast paced. If you don't want them to be fast paced, they don't have to be fast paced.
Exactly.
And COD. Vanguard feels like an arcadey COD shooter, but redefined in a sense. I think Modern Warfare and Warzone were the first steps, and I think Vanguard is the first COD game to properly hammer down on fun COD game. Snappy arcade shooter, slightly realistic. It worked together so well, and it's.
Shoot, I'm even willing to bet it's not even realistic just because of all the crazy ass attachments for World War II weapons. I mean, I mean, here's the thing too about that too with like realism, right? I know a lot of people hate this game because it's not realistic. It's literally Call of Duty. It's a war simulation. Like I understand the argument, and I don't blame you for wanting a realistic shooter with, these yellow dot sights would never be a thing in World War II, which you're right. You're absolutely right that they would never be a thing in World War II.
Thing is,
but because Call of Duty is fictional and they don't really, at this point of their development cycle, right? Maybe they would have cared about that a little bit before, but this point in their development cycle, they'd be like, fuck it, whatever. This is fiction. This is crazy. This is arcadey. This is what the fuck ever, right? So I understand the historical argument, and I agree to a certain extent, but for right now, because Call of Duty is that arcadey shooter, it's not real. It's, all the situations are fictional, based off of real events. That's the other thing. It's based off of real events. Not everything in the game is going to be super realistic, even though you have historically themed characters in the game. It's not going to be true to history 100%. Because it's fiction and it's a Call of Duty game.
It's a video game. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, zombies aren't real.
Zombies aren't real. I don't know about.
I know it's a pretty crazy concept.
Yeah,
zombies aren't real. And also another thing as well, before you die of a heart attack, is when you get shot in multiplayer and you put a little stem into you and put it in, you heal. That isn't real either. If you did that in real life, you wouldn't. The bullet wound wouldn't go away. Sadly,
funny enough.
Is it? Surely not.
Funny enough. Well, it's not what you think. It's not what you think. There's military technology out there where it's a syringe, like a stim shot.
Okay.
But you treat the bullet wound. So you stick it in the bullet wound and you press down, and I forgot what kind of material it is, but
does it clamp the wound?
Yeah, so like it's a material, it's like this spongy, foamy material that's supposed to seal up your bullet wound temporarily, like a stim shot, like you're healing yourself. So that technology does exist.
But okay.
But you're not. But you're not like, I'm better. Like it all went away. Like But yeah, no, I just thought that would mention that because some things are there. Like I said, they're based off of real life, they're based off of history, but it's not accurate because it's a fucking video game.
Man, that's fucking funny. Oh, that's good.
But anyways,
like I was saying, with the multiplayer, it just seems like for the first time in a while, there's a breath fresh of air. It's enjoyable. You can play it casually or hardcore. I know I'm going to absolutely grind the multiplayer this year. Probably more than zombies. I'll be playing a lot more old zombies because I find that more enjoyable anyway at the moment. But in a way, I have a weird thought process, right? Try and find the positive in every negative situation. Is because zombies is so shit this year in terms of content, it pushed me to go play multiplayer. And I found out, oh, wait, I actually really enjoy playing multiplayer. And it's something I want to try and get better at. I know you like gunfight. Is gunfight in this? No,
it's not Champion Hill.
That's
Champion Hill replaces gunfight, which I liked Champion Hill for what it was worth.
But
it doesn't beat gunfight. It does not beat gunfight to me. Like
I'm sure gunfight in. But
they better. I want to do more fucking gunfight tournaments. Shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, there are other possibilities for tournaments in the future for Vanguard and multiplayer and things like that I have in my head, but it's one of those things where why not have both? And I get it. I get it. Champion Hill is supposed to be the innovation. It's supposed to be the next step of gunfight because you have 2v2, 3v3. You have this kind of small map system.
Is just more enjoyable because it's like right straight to the point. And all
it's
that.
Right straight to the point. Everyone starts off with the same gun. Everyone has an equal chance, and it's up to your raw player skill. Your raw player skill is how you're going to win gunfight, rather than just I can just buy this weapon from the buyable station and use all the meta weapons I want. Everybody, you have to use what you know. You have to use your skill and your awareness and your map knowledge. Everything comes into play when you're playing gunfight, and that's what I really like about the map or the mode.
Yeah.
Champion Hill, you can literally just earn money through the rounds and be like, let me just buy the meta weapon today, and let's just kill everyone with the meta weapon. Yeah, whereas in gunfight, oh, damn it, this time I got an RPG. Well, it looks like I got to be smart about how I use this, and then the next round, oh, cool, I got the XM4. Okay, that's not bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, absolutely. But like it's kind of I guess going back to zombies is like is I think me and you, but we have a pretty positive outlook on zombies in general. Like even with Cold War's problems, we said that
even with Vanguard.
Even with Vanguard, right? Is like we try and look at the positive, and in Cold War time setting, people were kind of hating on the game a little. We were saying that you know that saying, you wish you knew you were in the good times before you were in it.
Yes.
We said that. We knew when we were in the good times. And we said that as well because Cold War is a very enjoyable game.
Yeah,
for this,
absolutely.
And again, I know the game's only been out for like 3 days. So you can't be like, oh, this game is trash. In a year's time, it could be a great zombies experience.
100%.
It's just with all the negative backlash so far, is like that. Does that push Activision to think, right, let's not update this game then? There's no point if they already hate it. Let's just
And
wait until the next game.
yeah, that's gonna actually tie into what I was about to say next. With, would Activision even want to put zombies in any future games now because of the community backlash? And number two,
yeah.
should we as a community, and this is kind of a hypothetical question, but at the same time, for all of you in the comments, for all of you who are watching, I want you all to actually answer this question, because I think this is a very serious and legitimate question that we as fans need to start thinking about the longevity of Call of Duty. Is this acceptable that in a year's time the game is finally good while we wait for a whole year for the game to be drip fed good? Is that acceptable? Because we have with Cold War, like for example, Onslaught was not good at the beginning of Cold War, and then Onslaught kept getting little update, and now it's a great game mode where I actually want to play a lot more Onslaught than I do Duran Fong right now. And the thing is, even though I really like where Onslaught is at right now, you could also make the argument for that. Is that acceptable that the product at launch was not good? I don't want to say shitty, because Onslaught wasn't really shitty. It was just meh. It was just fucking this is just too difficult. And then it becomes good in a year's time. Can we say the same thing for Vanguard? Because it's kind of a repeat of that, like you were saying. Duran Fong reminds you of Day One Onslaught, and I agree with that analogy. But the main difference with this is Onslaught was the exclusive game mode that was kind of shoved to the side with PlayStation. Now that everyone has it, it's more widely acceptable. But because we already had round-based and we already had all that to really focus our energy and time into, the side game mode could get a little bit of tinkering. But because Duran Fong is supposed to be the main focus of Zombies this year, is this acceptable? Is this acceptable that the main Zombies experience, the main one, is supposed to be the one getting drip fed and little tiny updates added, like pausing the game is coming in Season 1? So for you guys out there in the community, is this acceptable? Do you guys want to wait for the game mode to be good, or is it going to be too late before Modern Warfare 2 comes out? Because I think, like I said, us as a community have to start thinking about the longevity of this game, and if Activision really wants to start giving a shit about adding more things to the game or not, or if they're just going to be like, we'll just play it by ear and we'll see what the fuck happens, right?
Yeah. Here's the thing, right? It's like, here's my thought process. I think Duran Fong would have been the bonus game mode for PlayStation players if they had a survival map ready for launch. I genuinely think that. I think it would have been the bonus game mode that only the PlayStation players got. And it's like Onslaught in the sense that it's extra content, but it's not good to the point that it's like, I'm going to have to buy a PlayStation to play that. I have to get it now. It's something you can wait a year for, right? And over time, it could get really good. But looking at it by itself, and the way it's marketed as a zombies experience, this new zombies experience, it just doesn't feel right. It feels like they try to pull a fast one in releasing this, and Activision looked at it like, this is fine. This will do until we get them something else. But
because you compare Duran Fong and Die Maschine. I mean, it's a night and day difference. It's a night and day difference between the launch of Vanguard and the launch of Cold War. I mean, man, and again, we might be sounding harsh, but we're sounding harsh because we care about this. we want Vanguard Zombies to be good. Here's the thing. We want to play Duran Fong. We want to play this game because it's new. It's exciting.
We like the game mode.
Exactly. We want to do cool things in Zombies, right? We want to have fun and experience things and make videos about those fun things. The thing is, I think this is a good point. I forgot who said this, but it almost feels like if you play it twice, you've already experienced everything.
Because you have.
Well, that's the thing, right? Because there's not as much depth when it comes to the gameplay mechanics. I mean, yes, there's extra depth in other areas. See, again, it's a double-edged sword because you have depth with the covenants. You have depth with buying your perk multiple times. You have, different. What am I trying to say? You have different weapons that you can try out. And, people are really enjoying trying out these new weapons and trying to see what works and what doesn't work, right? That's all fine and dandy. But, other things just hold this game back. And then, you have other gameplay things that aren't as good as Cold War either. Like the artifacts. The artifacts are not as good as the field upgrades. Ether Shroud in this game lasts 5 seconds. Only 5 seconds. That's too short.
Here's something else as well, right? It feels like all the things outside of the game, in terms of like your field upgrades and all that as well, that you normally be able to customize, it feels like it's missing that layer of upgrading it. I don't know if it's just
100%. No, yeah.
And you know what pisses me off? You know when you use Ring of Fire, you want it to be around you, not 5 meters to your right.
Dude, I was playing with you and Alex, and when that happened to me the first time, I was so fucking confused. I'm like, oh, the Sturmkrieger is charging me. Let me pop my Ring of Fire. What the hell is it doing all the way over there?
I need it here.
I was so confused. So and it's like that's part of the reason why it's like this game feels so rushed. And the game, there's not a lot there. And I agree with your point with the lack of upgrading the system, the upgrade system for the field upgrades, which are the artifacts. Energy mine only explodes once.
And it's like, are they doing it to balance them down a little? I mean, that's
you
the
don't
way
know.
You can look at it, but
like no one actually knows why they did that.
Field upgrades were not that overpowered in Cold War. Ring of Fire was the only one that I would consider, oh my god, this is OP. Right. The rest of them, I think, were on a pretty level, playing field. And compared to specialist weapons, they obviously weren't as good as them because they're more, your character has an ability now, not like a super OP weapon, right? These just feel like there's no point in using them. Because if I try and use one, I'll probably just end up going down. The best one's probably Frost Blast out of all of them.
I have no idea. I'm going to be honest, dude. I have no idea. No.
And here's the thing as well, right?
I hardly use it. I hardly use it.
Here's the thing, right? Is like, even for the casual players, it might not be that bad because they'll play it twice and be like, oh, that was okay. Time to go play multiplayer, right? But like, for content creators, what the fuck are we supposed to talk about? Oh yeah, we did this objective 500 times,
Don't worry
or
about
like,
it. Don't worry about it. It's all part of the plan.
It's all part of the plan.
Is my camera out of focus? Come on, camera. I'm right here. It looks a little soft to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just tripping.
Now you look crisp.
Okay, we're chilling. We're chilling, guys.
You're crisp. But like, it's like, okay, Jason, you make a video talking about the Covenants. You make it, achievement videos. You make how Pack-a-Punch works, all that stuff out the way, right? Then what do you do?
Honestly, then what I do is I'm gonna do Road to Dark Aether. Like,
but
I'm gonna be honest. Like... I'm looking forward to doing Road to Dark Aether because it gives me something to make. I'm not looking forward to getting every fucking weapon to level 70. I already expressed how I feel about that. I'm just not looking forward to getting my weapon to level 70. All of them.
Yeah.
I'm just not. I know I can start with the knife because the knife has all of them already upgraded, which, by the way, is spoiler alert, I guess, for everybody. That's my first episode of Road to Dark Aether. I'll stream that later this week. And like, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. But dude, I know we said this earlier, but I'm gonna say it again because I'm still so flabbergasted by it. No pausing in solo.
That's the thing. What if you need to piss?
You don't get to.
And the thing is, if you technically put your character somewhere, okay, you go in this corner here, go for the piss. 50% of the time you come back, you're gonna be disconnected because you get kicked for not moving. And it makes no sense. And it's like if a normal survival map comes out, right? Is like inactivity. Is that gonna be a thing that kicks you from that? Because I know they're talking about the pause functionality, and that's great and all, right? I just can't believe
that it's like, guys, season 1, we can pause the game.
It's like, fuck, that's been in every
I shouldn't be laughing, but like the games on the Atari 2600 had that.
Pause. And it's like,
I shouldn't be laughing. It's kind of a nervous laugh, actually, because I have no fucking idea what's gonna happen in the future for this game.
Fucking hell. Man, it's just It's just
wild.
sad, and because the game has so much going for it in terms of story and visuals, and the audio is great, but it's just like
Yeah, that is
it's
one thing that I
polished. And
will give the game to. I like the deities. I like the Dark Ether entities. Cortifex, Bellacar, Invictor. I like the entities that talk to you throughout the game. And, each of the objectives are tied to them. It gives the world building a little bit more to it. And, what's going on in the Dark Ether. Like, it gives us little hints and glimpses of it here and there. I like that. I think that's really cool. However, Von Least has like 3 voice lines. The other Dark Ether entities have a bunch of voice lines. Von Least has like 3 voice lines. I don't know why he only has like 3, where he's like, oh, Professor, it's time to wish your toy soldiers goodbye, or something like that. He says that like 3 times in a row because there's no other voice lines for him. There's like 3 or 4 of them. At least from what I've experienced, it makes me believe there's only a handful of voice lines for it, which Von Least could be a cool character if you gave him more voice lines and made him a little bit more menacing. To me, he sounds and he feels like a cartoon villain. Yeah. I'm going to be honest. He sounds and feels like a cartoon villain, whereas Cortifex is like big bad, which understandably, yes, Cortifex is supposed to be big bad, but if we're supposed to hate Von Least and he's supposed to be super evil Nazi man, why? Like, I don't know. He doesn't feel like a serious threat. Cortifex feels like the serious threat. And I get he is the main villain.
He's supposed to be, I guess.
And Von Least is being used by Cortifex. But man, I still want to feel, that Von Least has some presence. I want to feel that why should I fear him? Why should I fear him? Not just because, I should fear him because he's a Nazi. Because obviously Nazis are bad. But that shouldn't be the only reason.
No, there should be other reasons why he's intimidating or why he might be a threat,
Right.
And here's the thing, right? Here's the thing that I think about, right? Is the graphics can be good. This goes to show just because a game has good graphics doesn't mean it's going to be good or bad, or the audio or anything like that at all.
It's all subjective.
And it comes down to the gameplay more or less than anything else.
It can.
And as far as the game actually feels, again, it feels great, but the actual just routine and doing the same thing over and over, and I know zombie players do that anyway, going for high rounds, but there's so much more to it in a normal zombie map, and it's just disappointing. And honestly, it feels like they could have just put this in Cold War as a different game mode.
100%.
I can understand why they want to do it in Vanguard, because they want to add this layer of story into the background. Man, do you remember how excited we were getting? Because Treyarch are working on this World War II, zombie game again. Another chance to kind of go back to the time of World War. First time in over 10 years that they've had a chance to go back to their actual roots of making a World War II zombie game mode. And it feels like they just haven't gotten that chance. And it's a shame, because after Vanguard, it's something that we're probably not going to get experienced that, by them at least, again. Unless it's going to happen in 5-10 years.
Right. That's the thing, right? It could happen further down the line. But man, this day, I think you hit the nail on the head there. This feels like it should be a Cold War DLC. This feels like it should be like a Cold War expansion pack. I don't feel like I'm playing Vanguard. Here's the thing. I do feel like I'm playing Vanguard because of the weapons, and it's a little bit different. However, it feels like Cold War 0.5. You can't even say 2.0, 0.5, because half of what was in Cold War is in this game. This is like half of Cold War. One other thing that I have to mention, though, is, I don't know if you've experienced this. When you get close to a zombie, even if you're not aiming down sights, you get like auto aimed on these enemies, and you're like over here, like the enemy's passing you, and you're like looking this way. I hate that. I fucking hate that. Where you're just trying to walk forward, and then you get like locked onto an enemy, and you're following them. And it's like, no, I want to go straight. Why am I locking onto these? Let me go straight. Yeah, like that's another thing where why is that in the game? I don't understand. I don't understand why certain things are in the game. I don't know if you guys watching have experienced that as well, but I personally hate that. Because it's annoying, right? Because another thing is, too, I almost failed an exfil because of that. There's a big crowd of zombies. I'm trying to wiggle my way through, and my character's like...
Yeah.
Like he's like locking on to everything. And I'm
Yeah.
like turning around and I'm like going over here. I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna miss
You know,
the exfil.
you know what else I love, right? You know what else I love?
Huh.
You know there's a horde of zombies and you can just go like run through them.
Dude, that's wild too. You wiggle the stick a little bit. Like there's no in between. There's no in between. It's either you get locked onto these enemies or you just wiggle your way through a crowd of zombies a little bit and you're fine.
You can kind of do it. Like you have a horde of zombies and it's kind of tight. It's like right. You know you. And then I'm out.
Overall, the game has good things about it. But
And
at the
bad
same
things.
time, it has some bad things. And you know what? I just hope the game gets updated and it gets a little bit more
Thing is,
stuff.
Here's the thing. It's like
And
it
I
takes
hope
a
we can
month
actually pause in season 1.
I think it's too late, honestly, already. I know the game's just come out, right? But it's like,
I don't think it's too late.
Well, no, because okay, I get that, right? The game could still be something really good, but in terms of the community, there's already such a bad taste in players' mouths.
It's going to be Black Ops 4 again, is what you're basically saying.
It's gonna be the case where they can release great maps like Ancient Evil and all that, but it's just the fact that it's already they put this out, and there's so many issues with it, and by the time it actually comes to getting decent maps, people just won't care anymore, and one of the things that I'm always going to give the game a chance. If they give out a new map and the map's great, I will say, right, this map is really good, but it doesn't
100%.
take away from the fact that they made a really shit base game. And
Yeah,
that is the 100% truth. And again, it's not because the game itself is shit. It's because there's hardly anything to it yet, and it needs to develop over time, like Outbreak.
There's hardly anything to it outside the camo grind, which I get. A lot of people like camo grinds. I like camo grinds, so I don't mind. Right? You can't pause. There's a lot of technical issues like kicking for an activity. You have that stupid lock-on thing I was just talking about. There's technical issues, and it just feels like the game out of the gate, the game started just stumbling, and it's like the game's got like a I don't know. It just what's going on, right? And I genuinely want to know. I genuinely want to know why that is. I mean, I know Activision rushing Treyarch and all that, whatever, but I genuinely want to know. I genuinely want to know what made them think to be like, this is totally okay and not delay it. And the other thing we didn't even mention, no wonder weapon. You want to talk about having character in a map, and you want to talk about a game having character. A fucking wonder weapon adds character. And, having no wonder weapon makes it feel a little bit empty because I don't feel excited to hit the mystery box anymore.
Yeah,
I don't feel excited to, do a quest for a weapon because, there's nothing to do. I can just spawn in with whatever gun I want and then just use that forever. More so now than Cold War. At least in Cold War, when you can spawn with any weapon you want, you can actually progress that weapon, and you can actually, do some cool things in Cold War with that. And there's more to Cold War, but because there's no extra to it, it just makes me go, damn. Well, I guess I'm already set up at round 1 because I have the weapon I want. All I gotta do is pack a punch it and get perks. Like I don't know. It's just
that's that.
I don't know. Again, you could make the argument for Cold War and how Cold War was the same way, but Cold War, because it has more content in it than Vanguard, it's a little bit different, I think. Anyways, Vanguard aside, believe it or not, other things did happen in the community this week, like Onslaught finally being added to Xbox and PC.
Yay!
That's fun. I've been playing some Onslaught over the week. I did an open lobby the other day. That was fun. Yeah, I'm glad everyone gets to experience it now, because now you have the kind of not laid back, but the kind of more toned down, the basic survival that is in Cold War that is in the form of Onslaught, which is kind of cool that everyone could do it now.
You want to know something else as well? You get the most polished version of the game possible.
Right.
There's
no
that's
the thing.
You get the best version of the game right from the start. So there's not gonna be a bad taste put in your mouth. It's not gonna be very basic, like PlayStation players had it. You get the very best version of Onslaught, and in some cases, it might have been a good thing that you didn't get to play it at the start when it was kind of meh. So
I know for a fact, 100%. Everyone on Xbox and PC they're loving Onslaught.
Yeah,
everyone's, wow, this is a really solid game mode. I'm glad I finally get to play it, right? Because they've slowly updated the game and made it better, which is a good thing. I'm all for the gameplay improvements, and I'm all for all of that, and I'm glad that the other 2/3 of the player base on Xbox and PC got to finally experience the actual completed version of Onslaught. But again, it still brings up the question: is that acceptable going on forward for something like Duran Fong? But we already talked about that. And the thing with Onslaught too, I think the whole thing with Onslaught was kind of confusing too, because they said November 1st, and then it wasn't November 1st. And then it was like, oh yeah, November 2nd. But then no one didn't know what time on November 2nd. And then they were like, oh yeah, November 2nd at 9. Okay, 9 a.m. p.m. Oh yeah, 9 at night. So that was kind of weird. That was kind of weird where everyone was like, they announced, oh yeah, Onslaught, November 1st, 2021. And then it never happened. I scheduled my video. I made a video, the complete guide to Zombies Onslaught for all the new players. I scheduled that video on November 1st, so it goes up. Half my comments were, where is it? Where's Onslaught? It's not here.
Not there.
Where do I find it? Where is it? And it's like, oh, no. Like
you lied to us, Jason.
So that was kind of funny, where it was like, motherfuckers, y'all had to delay it one day. Like, but I mean, hey, if they had to do it to fix something, then that's fine, right? But man, I thought that was kind of funny. Like half the comments are like, well, I don't see it. Oh, well, it's not here. Oh, da, da, da. And I'm like, ah, shit. So like half the comments, I'm like, okay, hang on, sorry. Treyarch delayed it. Thanks for watching the video.
Yeah.
Anyways, I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, that's the other thing too about like Onslaught being that not pure, because it's not like town or farm survival, but it's got that survival feeling to it where you just kind of play and you don't really do much. Yeah. I think they could have definitely done that with Vanguard, with Hotel Royale, Shinonuma, and the what's the name of the windmill place?
Windmill Town.
Like legitimately, I have no fucking idea what that place is called. Because they no idea. I don't think they told us, to be honest. If they did, let us know in the comments. They could totally turn all three of those into their just base survival maps. Yeah, and that would have been great. That would have been awesome to do. Now, there is a way to technically make those maps survival maps. Okay, and
how is that?
How do we do that? Well, you need a specific objective in
that one.
Vanguard.
You have to click the things, don't you?
Correct. You harvest. You just hit the microphone. Sorry, microphone. You just stockpile all of your runes, and you don't put them in the Sin Eater. And you just sit there in whatever location you're in, Shinonuma, Hotel Royale, you just sit there and you play it like a survival map as the zombies continue to infinitely spawn in. And that's your survival. If you want to get around there being no core survival experience.
Always been in the game. It's been in the game since day one.
I mean, it's still unacceptable that's how you have to do it. But, at least there's a way to kind of get around it.
Because that's the best way to get camos, isn't it, in Vanguard, really?
Oh, honestly, I have no idea where to begin to start to grind camos, dude. Like, I have no idea what I'm going to do. I've just been focusing on leveling up my weapons. Another thing, hang on a second. My double XP tokens did not carry over from Cold War to Vanguard like they did from Modern Warfare to Cold War.
No,
it did not carry over. So when I opened my XP thing, I had like one double XP token. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Why do I only have one?
There might be a workaround. What you might have to do is go into Cold War, activate it, and then go into Vanguard, because that's what you can do through Warzone to Cold War and Cold War to Warzone. I'm pretty sure.
Or is it because of Season 1 and the Warzone integration into Vanguard? Are they going to wait for that to make all the XP tokens
No
cross
idea.
game? I mean, I
No
was
idea.
honestly so disappointed when I opened up my double XP menu and I was like,
What the fuck?
what? Yeah, exactly. What the fuck? I was just going, dude, what? Why? What the
That's not
hell?
very cool.
That's not very cash money.
No.
Yeah, I mean, if worse comes to worse, I can always take the M1 Garand and the STG into Warzone because they gave us those blueprints before before the whole Pacific Island Warzone map. So I could take it into Warzone, into Plunder, or Clash, or something, and I can just level those up there. That could be a play, but man, it's wild. It's just wild.
Man, it just makes you think of like, wow. People complain about Cold War.
Yep. People complain about Cold War. People complain about Black Ops 4. And I mean,
here's the thing. There's reasons to be upset,
100%.
but not to the extent that they went to. This, you can understand why someone would be very annoyed. You can understand if someone paid, 60, 70. And then you get some people saying, "Oh, you should have waited for gameplay first. You made a mistake. You shouldn't have just bought the game." But at the same time, it's like
you can't wait for somebody else to play the game. You, as a consumer, you expect the product to work on launch. You can't just wait for somebody else to be like, "Oh yeah, that looks great. Then I'll get it." Which I get it. That influences sales too. I 100% get that. But as a consumer who already is a fan of the franchise and a fan of what's going on, they expect a level of gameplay that works. I think when people go, "Oh, don't go into this with no expectations," I disagree, because you have to have some kind of expectation for the game to fucking work.
Yeah.
Like at bare minimum, the game's got to work. So. And there are basic fundamentals that don't work in the game. It's very understandable why people are writing off Vanguard Zombies and saying, "Oh, this is shit. I'm never playing this again." Very understandable. Very understandable. However, it's going to take a lot of work on Treyarch's part, unfortunately, to get some of these people back, if these people can come back, because of all of the problems that are in this game mode. And again, we love zombies. And we might sound super harsh. I cannot get this across enough, because
we're only saying it.
We're only saying this because we love zombies, and I cannot get this across enough because for whatever reason in this fucking community, when you say something negative, you hate everything about zombies and you hate every single thing. And L ratio, get shit on, whatever, fucking toxic Twitter people, right? Like. We're harsh because we want to see this game mode succeed. We do not hate Vanguard. I do not hate Vanguard Zombies. I think there are things in the game I hate. I don't hate the entire game. I really genuinely do not. I will still go on stream and play it. I will still play the game for hours on end to learn the game and to continue to bring content for you guys. That is 100% what's going to happen. But you have to acknowledge the things that are wrong with the game. You have to, or else you're blind. Every game every game has its flaws, and those flaws are subjective. But these are literally things that are broken about the game.
Yeah, and it's kind of like it's one of the things where if no one points it out, Activision wouldn't change it.
Right.
They wouldn't care. Like, oh, we can launch this on day one and no one's upset. Okay, let's just do this every year. Give them less of a budget. And it's like, nah.
Yeah, man. It's crazy. It's honestly a crazy time to be in the community. And we can only be optimistic. We can only be optimistic about this and hope that things do get better. And, here's the thing. Some of it I can overlook. I can overlook no Pack-a-Punch camo. I really can. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not too. I don't get me wrong.
Because the thing is, a lot of people would just use Dark Ether on their weapon and not even worry about the Pack-a-Punch camo in Cold War. So I can look over a Pack-a-Punch camo if there were other things in the game that made up for it, right? And the lack of a wonder weapon, the lack of an Easter egg, that's really not a good look, to be honest, for a core. Like we said, this is supposed to be the core Zombies experience. It's supposed to carry us until DLC 1, Season 1, whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I think the future of Vanguard is very uncertain, but I want to continue to stay optimistic because I love zombies and I love Treyarch as developers. I think they definitely fucked up in a few areas, but because they fucked up doesn't mean I hate them. And I think that's the discrepancy we have to make here, because again, for whatever reason, people in this community think, oh, you say one little bad thing, you must hate everything about the fucking game, right? And we don't. We really genuinely don't. So, and by the way, if there are any Treyarch developers who are watching this podcast, we would love to have you on. I don't care who you are. We'd love to have you on. Whether you worked even sound department, right? And some things.
Just to talk about it.
Just to talk about what's going on with the game, why it happened the way it happened. Or I should probably reword that. What can you talk about because of NDAs and legalities? What can you talk about and why things are the way they are? By any off chance, my DMs are open on Twitter. The Division Z Twitter accounts, DMs are open. Go ahead. Message us. We would love to have you on, or if I ever find myself in a position that I can talk to a Treyarch developer or a Sledgehammer developer, for that matter, I'd love to shoot him a message and be like, what, want to come on and see what the hell's going on? Can you explain to everybody why things are the way they are? Why is there no pause in solo? If they can talk about it. That's the other thing too. Like I said, legalities, NDAs, red tape, but I'm ranting. I'm rambling at this point. Yeah. Anyways, a lot of random stuff happening in this community. We had Vanguard Zombies, the launch of Vanguard as a whole. We had Onslaught coming out this week. One thing that I do want to say though, before we end off today's episode, is I am looking forward to seeing how the Dark Ether storyline progresses in this game. Because they're starting to have this rich world building with the entities and Cortifex and Syraxis, all these entities, which, like I said, is a good part about the game that we mentioned. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how we can progress that forward and why these Dark Ether entities are the way they are, and why these 4 specific entities wanted to band up against Be'lakor and all the other Dark Ether entities that are going to be introduced later in the future through the artifacts, such as the field upgrades. I'm really looking forward to that. And the world building. The world building of the Dark Ether is going to be, I think, a highlight of Vanguard Zombies, and that is something I'm looking forward to. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think one thing going into Vanguard Zombies is that the story feels a lot more focused, and you feel like you're in the story compared to when you were kind of collecting intel. You had to actually read about it outside in the menu of Cold War. I definitely feel like the story is unfolding in front of you with the audio and all that. And I'm excited to see where it goes. So I'm already more interested in this game story than I am in Cold Wars. I will say that much, just because I feel like, this is kind of cool, the route they're going. And obviously with the field upgrades, you can hear the ether entities and all that talking. You feel a lot more in the story than reading up about it, sort of thing. And I do really like that. And I think if they go forward to this direction with Vanguard, I think the story is something that people will say, Vanguard might not have been a great zombies game. Story I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed the way they told it. And even going forward to like the next Black Ops game, next Treyarch game, whatever next zombie game, if they can find a system like this that works, continue with this, because this works. This is intriguing. It's got me interested. And especially for someone like a casual player that doesn't, really pay attention to intel and that's a way to get them involved in the story as well, make them want to learn.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. I think, the intel system in Cold War, albeit, is not not albeit, let me reword that. The intel system in Cold War is a very acquired taste. I think it's a very subjective. I personally liked the intel in Cold War. I thought it was a good system. I liked reading about the story. I liked going in and listening to audio logs and things like that. So I'm a little bit bummed that there's no intel in Vanguard. But yeah, like you said, the radios in the map are fun too. And I'm just looking forward to seeing where it all builds up to from here. So yeah, I guess that'll be it for this episode of the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We talked about a lot of stuff pertaining to Vanguard Zombies, of course. And we talked about Onslaught. And even though the future is uncertain, we're gonna be optimistic, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how they can improve Vanguard Zombies. So, with that said, everybody, what do you guys think about Vanguard Zombies? And also, what do you think about Onslaught coming to Xbox and PC? Because we talked about that too. Share your thoughts in the comments. And any other closing thoughts before we wrap it up?
Okay, first of all, if you haven't bought Vanguard yet, actually, for Zombies, don't buy it just for Zombies. This is going to be something I make a video about later on, but if you're watching this, you get the early scoop. Don't buy it yet for Zombies. But people that have bought it for Zombies already, give the multiplayer a try, give the campaign a try, because there is value in the game other than Zombies.
Well,
I can promise you that much. Closing thoughts, there we go.
Well, there you go, everybody. If you enjoy multiplayer, you'll definitely enjoy Vanguard. I like the multiplayer as well. So, with that said, thank you all so much for watching episode 68 of the Division Z podcast, and we will see you all next time. Peace out.
Bye, everyone.